Last week he wore a Baker Mayfield jersey, but he's got the game of the week in college football. Joe Klatt, former quarterback, set Colorado passing records, by the way, when he was there, but the ball travels in that altitude.
That's right. It was the altitude.
Okay, so you got
What's up, man?
Hey, first of all, hey, everybody. Jim Harbaugh can coach.
Yeah.
Oh, my
how
God.
about it? Look at everyone back on the bandwagon for Jim Harbaugh.
Listen, their offensive line was a mess. Not anymore. You have the game of the week.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Michigan State is the game of the week in college football. And I'm looking at them. I got to tell you, Joel, I think they roll until Ohio State.
Okay, so I just saw Ohio State last week against Minnesota, and I've seen Michigan, even in a game in which they didn't play well. They were down 17-0 to Northwestern before they came back and won. From what I've both seen on tape, evaluating both teams, and what I saw live, my new favorite to win the conference is Michigan. Ohio State had so many holes. I mean, bad ones. The big plays they're giving up. Ohio State's given up 22 plays of 30 or more yards. That's sixth worst in college football. Their offensive line was atrocious last week. And Michigan just had, I would say, a top 2-3 team performance of any team in college football last week.
Listen,
last week against Wisconsin, they were unbelievable.
College fans are brutal. In the NFL, we all understand. Eagles off to a rough start. Patriots off to a rough start. Steelers off to a rough September. But we own in the NFL, well, September doesn't really count. In college, if you have a bad opening game, fans give up on you.
Sure.
Clemson won a national title 2 years ago. They called me a fraud. The coach yelled at me. They were awful in October. They were a mess in October. Michigan, you got to, first of all, Notre Dame's pretty good. It was the first game for that quarterback.
Yep.
Michigan is good.
They're really good. And that game was really about the first quarter. And Notre Dame people hate to. And listen, I'm not taking a shot at Notre Dame. I love Notre Dame. I think you're going undefeated and going to the playoff. I really like Notre Dame a lot. Michigan, you could argue, and trust me, I studied the tape, was the better team for 3 quarters. It was the 2 big plays early in the first quarter, and then all of a sudden, the quarterback's behind the 8 ball. Michigan is a really good team. They had 2 holes that they needed to fix from last year. Offensive line and quarterback, they're getting great play from both. Just to give you a stat to back that up, last year, the offensive line was giving up right around 3 sacks per game. Do you know that's down to 1.5? So they've cut that in half, and Shea Patterson, his ability to convert with his feet on both quarterback design runs as well as when the pocket breaks down and he can get loose, namely like against Northwestern in a game that I did, those conversions are huge. Keep his team on the field. They're not throwing the ball at some sort of dynamic clip like Dwayne Haskins is, but they run it well. Yeah. They use their tight ends well. Their special teams are really good outside of a couple of missed field goals last week. Michigan's for real. Michigan's for real.
And they go to Michigan State. Joel Klatt's doing the game. It is here on Fox. Okay, so it's funny about this. We are just now used to college basketball players leaving after their freshman year.
Yeah, we're numb to it. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. We're like, hey, thanks, Marvin Bagley, for giving us a year of your time.
Right.
You kind of celebrate. We landed Marvin Bagley. We land Ben Simmons. You get a year, and it's okay. We're not used to that with football players.
Right.
But Nick Bosa is a great player. You don't have to marry everybody you date. Ohio State benefited. Nick Bosa benefited. And now he got hurt, and he said, you know what? I'm going to leave early. I'm probably only going to play, I'm not maybe be healthy for Michigan, but I'm not healthy. And people are coming unglued. Folks, basketball players give us a year, and we're okay with it.
Well, there's a lot of factors at play here. So first and foremost.
So Nick Bosa's leaving early to the NFL. He's probably going to be the number 2 pick behind Justin Herbert, quarterback at Oregon.
Depending on need.
Right.
I mean, he could be. I think he's the best overall player on a big board. But he's probably going to be in the top 3 picks based on need and quarterback need and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
I just want to bring this to everyone's attention. Not every injury is the same. Okay? When you're talking about an abdomen injury, there's a lot of uncertainty around that about when you can test out. This is not a broken hand where you just like, no, give it time, and once it's healed, it's good to go, and I'm ready to rock.
Right.
This is a very different injury. Therefore, a guy that's going to be guaranteed upwards of $30 to $35 million in his rookie contract, why in the world would you put that at risk?
Come on, you're a quitter, man.
I disagree because he was arbitrarily held into school this last year. He was good enough to be a top 3 pick last year. So these archaic rules that keep him in college football for no reason whatsoever other than the fact that the collective bargaining agreement, which Bosa had no say in bargaining for, right? It's the Players Association, which the veterans are going to want to keep young players out anyways, and the owners. They have no say in this. So this is an arbitrary rule that keeps him in college football. He's got a totally uncertain abdomen injury.
Yeah.
Guess who also understands this? Urban Meyer wished him well, said, thank you for being here. You're a great Buckeye. And I would second that. He is a great Buckeye and will always be a great Buckeye. And this is the decision that he should make.
By the way,
why do we fault these kids for making decisions that enhance their own future?
By the way, if LeBron was a Buckeye for a year, you would thank him for giving you a year.
Sure.
If you were a Buckeye and LeBron came for a year, and because I think he probably would have gone to Ohio State.
He committed to Ohio State, but this was before one undone.
So LeBron goes to Thad Matta at the time, wins a title, leaves. You would never let him buy dinner in Columbus for the rest of his life.
Carmelo Anthony in Syracuse. Same exact example. Went to Syracuse, won a title, and now he's a legend there, as he should be.
Nick Bosa has been in your weight room for the last 2.5, 3 years, and because he's hurt and doesn't want to risk it, you're crushing him. Folks, come on.
Everybody out there, everybody would make this same decision.
Oh, of course.
Do not tell me otherwise. And I will. Let's also get to another point of this whole discussion. This is not an epidemic in college football. This applies to like 4 guys a year.
First-round guys who are hurt and don't want to risk a crappy bowl game.
Not only first-round guys, but guys that cannot enhance their draft stock. Bosa's draft stock is done, man.
Yeah,
it is signed, sealed, delivered.
Yeah.
Everybody else, if there's a question like, well, I might be a top 20 pick, but I could get into the top 10, he'd probably play.
Yes.
Right? This applies to such a small number of
Christian
players.
McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey, Nick Bosa. So I don't want to read any more articles about some epidemic in college football.
Hey, Sam, my producer, what'd you yell in my ear? Yeah, Leonard Fournette's another guy.
Yeah.
By the way, that guy's never healthy in the pros. All right. So you played minor league baseball. I broadcast minor league baseball.
Isn't it great?
I was a terrific broadcaster. So, by the way, left the sport because of an abdomen injury, just like you were saying.
That's an uncertain injury, Colin. I get it.
Went to television. Okay. So Manny Machado did something last night, and baseball people are freaking out.
Yeah.
This is so Lambeer, so Rodman, so Richard Sherman. This is so Josh Norman. Agitators, Ali, Connor, Tiger. It's trolling.
Yeah.
Manny Machado, nobody got hurt here. He dragged his foot as a pro athlete.
Yeah, so Aguilar is the first baseman, right? Here's my sense as just a baseball player. This is what you get when you legislate self-governance out of the game. Do you follow me on that?
What do you mean?
It used to be in the past, the best 2 sports about self-governance were hockey and baseball. You do something I don't like,
you get whacked.
Bang. Here we go. Now they've legislated that out of the game. You can't slide unless you can touch the base. You can't slide hard. You can't do this hard. You can't throw inside. You can't. This is what you get. You get dirtier play when you legislate self-governance out of the game. The game, not to be an old stodgy, I'm 36. The game used to be better. Listen, I can defend both guys here. If I'm Aguilar, I'm pissed. If I'm Machado, I'm saying, get off the bag. Get off the bag. He's standing in the middle of the bag.
I like trolls. I think trolling's okay.
I just get frustrated by this because, to me, this is an instance of baseball hurting itself. You get this when you try to, quote-unquote, clean up the sport. You got to let guys throw it high and tight.
Give me here's my 4. I'll give you my 4 that make the playoff. And when does the playoff poll come out? Next Wednesday?
Yes, next week or the week after.
Okay, I'm gonna say this. If I was to rate teams, because I don't believe that Alabama, because they beat people by 50, is number 1. I wouldn't put them number 1 because they haven't played anybody.
Okay.
Notre Dame's played a tougher schedule. I'd go Notre Dame number 1.
That's crazy. Go ahead. I threw you off. Look at you. You can't even rank them.
No, hold on. Georgia, everybody's losing. I'd go Ohio State number 2.
That's wrong.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would go Georgia lost, Oklahoma lost. I would go Bama number 3.
That's wrong.
And I would do Clemson number 4.
I think that there's got to be some mixture of...
Do you disagree with my teams?
No.
Okay, so what are you banging on me for?
Because it's not just about resume, right?
It's about schedule.
It's not just about schedule. It's also about dominance. I think it can be some combination of both. I don't think there's any way you can not vote Alabama number 1 in the country. They have been the most dominant team in college football. It doesn't matter. That's the thing.
No, there are teams that have a Mike Tyson quality. Mike Tyson was the world's toughest bully. But when Lennox or Evander hit him back, he was never half of the fighter.
We'll see.
Bama's a great bully. I'd like to see him go on the road occasionally in September.
Yeah, they don't do that. Listen, in the college football playoff era, do you know they're the only team to not play a true road game in the non-conference?
It's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing, and the schedule needs to get fixed. That doesn't mean that they're not a dominant team. I would go Alabama number 1. I think if I was just rating on teams, I would put Michigan number 2. I would probably put Notre Dame or Clemson 3, and I'd probably put LSU or Ohio State 4. I was not impressed with Ohio State. Not a knock on them. Their offensive line was bad last week. They've got so many holes. Dwayne Haskins is covering up for Ohio State right now. He's brilliant. I'm telling you, man, this guy, you talk about an NFL
He'll be the
prospect.
number 1 pick, not this year, the following year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.